What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to From the Bench. I'm your host, Will Meadows, and today is our Wednesday edition of the show. So we're going to talk about a little bit about what's to come in this game against Kentucky this Saturday. Obviously, it's not the full preview because that's what our Friday episode is going to be, but just a little bit about what's going on, what's brewing around the program this week leading up to this Kentucky game. So we're going to talk about what does Kentucky bring to the table, what stands out for them. Obviously, we're not going to bring in our whole prediction and breakdown of the game because that's going to be Friday. But we're going to talk about what's good, what does Kentucky do good? And I'll give you a hint, it's not a lot, especially in my opinion. I don't think this team's good. I've watched a lot of Kentucky football this year. I don't think they're very good. We're going to talk about how Gerald Mincey is an idiot, former Tennessee offensive tackle, now Kentucky offensive tackle, just running his mouth on the internet, being a big dummy. And he was a big dummy here, and now he's a big dummy there. So some things never change. He's got a quote going around on the internet right now that's just plain dumb. So we're going to talk about him and how that could maybe be some bulletin board material for the Vols because, again, a lot of people played with him. He was here a year or two ago. The black uniforms, the dark mode, we're going to talk about how awesome Tennessee's post was for that, but we're also going to talk about how the atmosphere could really affect Kentucky. And we're also going to talk about what section of Tennessee's team can attack the weaknesses of Kentucky's football team. Because, again, I think they have a lot of weaknesses, and I think one of their big weaknesses is one of our strong suits. So we'll get into that. But before we get into anything, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video. Follow all of our socials. The Instagram's going great. It's almost at 500 followers. I also have a TikTok. I'll put the link for that in bio. The TikTok is not just about, I should have put this out earlier. The TikTok is not just about Tennessee sports. It's about all sports, just NFL, NBA, maybe even a little MLB with the World Series going on right now. College football, college basketball, NBA, and NFL. So that's what it's going to be about, and that way TikTok is really easy to get your name out there, so that way I can grab more people's attention. It's just _from-the-bench. It's the same thing as the Instagram, so I'll start putting that logo down there. But make sure you guys follow all the social medias, like this video, subscribe like I said, and comment how you feel about this game coming up this Wednesday, and let's get right into it. So like I said, the first thing we're going to talk about is what does Kentucky bring to the table, because again, like I said, I don't think it's a lot, which, maybe I'm a hater, maybe I just don't like Tennessee, or maybe I just don't like Kentucky and I love Tennessee, but I've watched a lot of Kentucky football this year and there's not a lot to call home about. The first thing that I think is, a solid for them, their defense is good. Their defense is solid. They've got some NFL players on that defense, and they've got to have a good defense because they almost beat Georgia, and I don't know how in the world they did it, but they did beat Ole Miss. So there's that. Something's got to be going for them a little bit. The defense gets after it. They fly to the ball. Like I said, they do have some NFL players on there. They also have a first-round draft pick on there on that D-line. So, they're going to get after it, and it's kind of what they did against Georgia is it was really the perfect – I remember watching that game, and I was like, they have the perfect game plan on how to beat Georgia, and it's keep the ball out of their hands. So hopefully they can't do that to us because we've also had a bad history in these past few games of going 3-and-out. Obviously, it's just been a first-half problem, which it can't happen again. We can't just keep being horrible in the first half because that'll catch up and bite you at some point. It did bite us at Arkansas, but it'll bite us again in a part of the season where we've really got to be on our A game if we want to have a chance at the national championship. Because I think we can't waste this defense, man. This is a national championship defense, but that's besides the point. They had the perfect recipe to beat Georgia, and it's win the time of possession. And hopefully they don't do that to us. They've got the other thing they do good is they've got two solid receivers, Dane Key and Barryon Brown, really complement each other really well. Barryon Brown's a shorter, quicker guy, very fast. Returns kicks. He had a kickoff return against Florida 2 weeks ago. He's just a speedster. He's an athlete, and he's a great athlete. He's going to be playing on Sundays. They also have Dane Key, who's a bit of a bigger body, a little more physical, but he can still make plays. after he gets the ball in his hands. A good run after catch guy. So it'll be interesting. I think Jermon McCoy will be fine with whoever it is that he's guarding. Everyone knows I got a lot of faith in Jermon McCoy. I think he is the best DB in the SEC by a mile. We're also, I just think that this one thing they do horrible, and I'll just go ahead and talk about it. I said I was going to do it last, but I think it ties in good right here. Their offensive line is horrendous, and they have struggled protecting Brock Vandagriff, who is no bueno. He is not good. He played at Georgia. Carson Beck beat him out for the job, left. Now he's at Kentucky. He is no good. He is going to be the worst quarterback we play all year outside of UTEP, UTC, and Kent State. A real game, he's going to be the worst one we play. And it doesn't – a bad offensive line and a bad quarterback is not a good not a good combination or a recipe for success whatsoever. So I think our defensive line is going to really take over this game. I think that we have the best D-line in the country, and they have one of the worst offensive lines in the country. So, again, like I said, not a very good recipe for success for the Wildcats. I think James Pierce is going to take over. I mean, he played incredible against Alabama. I think Omar Norman-Lott could do great things. I think Don Bailey. I think Joshua Josephs. I think they all could. I mean, I think truly this D-line will take this game over. And I say all that to say I don't think Kentucky does a lot good at all. Watching this team, like I said, I have no idea at all how they beat Ole Miss, because I'm not saying Ole Miss is some world beater at all, because they've already have 2 losses, but they're not. I don't know. They should beat Kentucky. I'll say that. But again, like I said, Mark Stoops is a solid coach, so credit to him. They're a solid coached football team. I just don't think they have the talent to keep up with, especially, like I said, I think this is a national championship level defense. We just can't play into their game plan, and that's winning the time of possession, because that's where, the nails start getting to biting, and it's not a good recipe for success at all. Speaking of their O-line, like I just said, Gerald Mincey, former Tennessee Volunteer, he was an offensive tackle here a year or 2 ago, was a big dummy when he was here, had got suspended a few times just for being a big dummy. And he is still a big dummy. A quote is going around of him, basically bad-mouthing Tennessee. He also, when John Campbell got hurt, he retweeted it and put LOL. I mean, he's just a dummy. I mean, he's an attention seeker too. So, Gerald Mincey, if you're seeing this, I want no problem with you. You're a big guy. Big Division I athlete, you got that, bro. But it's my job, what I'm doing here. I gotta talk about it. So this quote, I don't have it all, but the end of it is, "We go there November 2nd. We gonna bust them in the mouth and put the standard back over here." He was talking about how Kentucky's got a lot to prove, and they want to set the record straight that Kentucky football is back. And obviously, they're not very back. They're coming off of 2 horrible losses. They got pounded by 4 scores against Florida. And then they lost to Auburn last week, who Auburn is probably outside of Mississippi State. They are probably the worst team in the SEC. So, just a dumb statement. I get what he's trying to do. I mean, what is he supposed to say? Yeah, I think Tennessee's going to come over here, or I think we're going to go to Tennessee, and we may put up a good fight, but they've got us. I get that, but he's just being a dummy, and he's asking for a problem. He also said in the beginning of the year, I don't know the quote off the top of my head, he may have said it at SEC Media Day. I'm not for sure. He said that Kentucky's offense was better and more fast-paced than Tennessee. That's just not true. It's not accurate. It's just dumb. Even if it was turned out to be better, it's not more fast-paced. He doesn't even believe that. That's just dumb to say. And speaking of dumb to say, could this be bulletin board material for the Vols? Maybe, maybe not. It may just go in this one and out that one. But, a lot of these guys on this team played with Gerald Mincey. So, it could be bulletin board material if some people just aren't a fan of it. So I don't think it's going to be some, oh yeah, like plastered on the Jumbotron. Like that's just, I mean, he doesn't hold that much weight. But, that's just him being an idiot. As I just talked about, I went to Florida 2 weeks ago in the swamp and got mollywopped. And the swamp's a good atmosphere. Whether we like Florida or not, it is. So, speaking of the atmosphere, excuse me, sorry about that. We have dark mode activated. I don't know if you guys saw Tennessee's post announcing it, but it was awesome. It was like the Venom virus sliding up the dude's jersey. It was an orange jersey getting a black like virus sliding up. Just an awesome video, and like ESPN even posted it, and people were commenting like, "I don't like Tennessee, but this video is ridiculous." So, awesome way to drop it. They were wearing the black uniforms again, the black from head to toe, pants, jerseys, helmets. I don't know if anybody remembers this, the first game we wanted to wear the black jerseys. Our black helmets had not come in yet, and this was Hooker's year, like the good Hooker year. And we wore white helmets with like a black face mask. So I missed that. I thought that was awesome. Obviously, I get everybody loves the all black, and I do too. But I'm not saying that the white helmet's better than the black, but it's something I kind of miss. But oh well, I don't think that's ever going to come back. So dark mode is activated, as the volunteer media team likes to say, and they like to put on shirts and stuff like that. So I think this atmosphere is going to be rocking. It's another night game. They just keep stacking night games in Neyland. They gave us another one with Mississippi State, which I'm so thankful for, because I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to go because of my own basketball game that I play at butt crack in the morning, but now I'm going to be able to go. But that's besides the point. They just keep stacking these night games in Neyland, and it's going to be an electric atmosphere. And I think this offensive line, like I said, it all kind of ties back together. This offensive line that is no good, I mean, I just don't see it holding up with our D-line. I think Brock Vandagriff is no good, and I don't see him being able to control this atmosphere. The offense already struggles enough at home when it's quiet on offense, and 100,000 plus screaming at you. I mean, our atmosphere these past 2 games has been awesome. I kind of picked on it a little bit after the Florida game, just saying that it was a reactive crowd and not a proactive crowd, and it was not that at all against Alabama. Even with all the hiccups in the first half, it was still loud in there. So props to Vol Nation for that. I think this atmosphere is really going to overwhelm and take over that Wildcat offense. And, Tennessee just owns Kentucky. And football, and every time they've been a little all right, we just curb stomp them for the past few years since Heupel's been here. I mean, when they thought they had a little something, and they were ranked inside the top 20, and they had Will Levis, and then he came to Neyland and threw 3 picks, and against that defense, it was no good. So keep that in mind. I mean, I don't see this game being close. Like I said, I'll talk more about it in our official breakdown on Friday. I don't see this one being close at all. So that's my take. That's what I think's going to happen. But also, I didn't put it down on the paper, but we always do this on the middle of the week episode. We're going to talk about around the SEC, and very unprofessional of me, I don't have it written down or have even jotted over it. But I'm going to go with what I know. Like I said, Auburn beat Kentucky. I think it was 28-10. They had a guy, like I said, run all over the place. He set the record as of now for this season for most rushing yards in a game. I mean, it was like 280 or 278. It was something ridiculous. So there's that. I don't know if you guys watched the A&M versus LSU game. Like I talked about it on the last episode with how it affects the college football playoff field and look for Tennessee, because A&M's very well in that picture. It was a close game. Connor Wegman was not playing good. It's not that he was turning it over, but, when he can't sustain a drive, you can't be on the field. So they brought Marcel Reed in midway through the third quarter, and, man, he was electric. He's a Tennessee native. I think he's from – it's either Nashville or Chattanooga, wherever NBA is at, is where he went. Just three rushing touchdowns. He had a couple deep balls or a deep ball. I mean, he played out of his mind, and A&M ended up curb stomping LSU. Texas, and Vanderbilt was a solid game. I I don't know how you guys feel about this, and comment this because I really, please comment. I'm begging. How do you guys feel about Vanderbilt? Because me personally, I'm not sold. I don't think they're very good. I don't think they do anything very well. I think Diego Pavia is a gamer. I think he's one of those guys. Like, I don't think Diego Pavia is like, oh yeah, he does this, and this well. And he does some stuff well. I mean, he's a good SEC quarterback. But like, I think he's just a gamer. He's gritty. He's a winner. And it's not that he's built some crazy culture over there in Vanderbilt and that he's just winning everything he plays, but I'm just not sold with this team. I think Texas's offensive line is not very good, and I think Quentin Ewers has regressed from last year because I was all behind Quentin Ewers. Like, even when they benched him against Georgia 2 weeks ago, like, you can't bench a guy that brought you to the college football playoff when it was a 4-team format. I mean, you just can't do that. And he kind of proved me wrong. No, he proved me, wrong. He just played bad against Vanderbilt. Missing throws, just didn't look like the Quentin Ewers that we know. So I also, like I said, I think they have a pass protection issue. So I thought 2 weeks ago, and this is how college football has been all year. So a couple weeks ago, I thought they were the best team in football and college football by a mile. And I stand corrected. They've started to play some more comp, and the offensive line's not holding up like it should. So we're actually going to go look up. Usually I have this right off my head. I think I got it for the most part. Yeah, Alabama, absolutely. Curb stomped Missouri. Brady Cook got hurt, and I don't even know his name. I don't even need to know his name. But the backup for Missouri is the worst quarterback in Power 5 football, Power 4, whatever you want to call it, with this conference realignment. He's no good. He's just not. The other one was Arkansas and Mississippi State. We play Mississippi State next week. The team's not very – I think they're a little better than their record shows, which they're 1-6 or whatever it is, and they got 40 hung on them by Toledo, but their quarterback's a little better, and I can't say that with a straight face because they're 1-6. When you get 40 hung on you by Toledo, you do have – you kind of got that record coming for you. But, they're not very good. They got 60 hung on them by Arkansas. So, and Arkansas has started. I think he's hurt, Jaquindon Jackson, but the bowling ball that ran all over us for Arkansas on the last drive, he started playing a lot, and he ran the ball all over Mississippi State. So again, hopefully, because we have one of, if not the second best running back in the country. So hopefully he can do the same against them in 2 weeks, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And Ole Miss and Oklahoma, watched the whole game, was not impressed with either team. Like I said, Ole Miss isn't some world beater, but I thought they were a little better than what they are. Oklahoma, poor Oklahoma. The O-line's no good. They're all hurt. All the receivers are hurt. They're just not set up for success really at all. Poor Oklahoma. They're hurt. It's hard to win games when your best players are hurt. So Jackson Arnold actually got the start against Ole Miss, and he played great in the first half. He threw like 2 incompletions, and they were winning. But then Ole Miss ultimately ended up putting some points on the board in the second half, and Oklahoma couldn't keep up, and it was like 14-26. So, it happens. Sorry, Oklahoma. Hope you get healthy. Don't really care if you do or you don't. But I care about the Vols. I think the Vols are going to win Saturday. And we'll talk more. We'll break it down a little more on Friday's episode, obviously. But that was just a little rundown of what went on with the SEC. I usually like to do a little just informational piece of – because, the SEC race, if you're in the SEC championship, you're in the playoffs. So there's that. But that's going to wrap up today's Wednesday episode of From the Bench. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, thank you guys for all the support. I'm just having really a blast doing this, whether it's 700 viewers or 20 viewers. I love doing it. I love that I'm making one person be able to watch the show and wake up and watch it. And learn a little something about Tennessee football. It's just my passion. So thank you guys for all the support. Make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Leave a comment on how you feel about Vanderbilt. Like I said, I want to know that. So do that, but also how you feel about Kentucky coming up this week. If you got any questions, let me know. I'd be happy to answer them on the next episode. But thank you guys for watching, and go Vols.